All right, welcome to the first Really Okay Pocky.
Did you
First
say you
edit.
fumble your words?
Yeah. Well, it just started. Welcome to the first Really Okay Hockey podcast. I'm very excited that we can finally get this going. We've been kind of teasing it lately, but the channel now has new members. We have Jerky here, myself and Nate, obviously. We have Zach and we have Z. So I play beer league with these guys. We play warrior hockey together, which we will talk about extensively. We're all Army veterans, if you couldn't tell by some of the background here with Zach. So this first episode, we're going to kind of talk about each other, how we got into hockey, how we got in the military, kind of our life that led to here. And so if you're not interested in that, there's going to be a second episode dropping right after this, that will talk strictly about hockey. But we're glad you're here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So,
yeah, I'm Bryce Jerkovac, originally from North Carolina. Joined the Army back in 2012 as a forward observer. Did a tour to Afghanistan and Bulgaria, and then got out because I was over it. Kind of the hockey background started when I was 11. Played 1 year of college at Liberty University, 2 years of juniors in the Southeast Junior Hockey League, and I did a weekend of the Mountain Hockey League Senior A, and currently a call up right now, I guess, for the Sin City Kings whenever they need it.
nice.
This is your audience.
Now, do you remember these? Remember these back in the day?
Yeah, a little bit like
The silent ones.
What? How'd you start into hockey? Like, parents drop you in, or you just start like? That's cool.
Well, kind of typical thing growing up. We all kind of either played like t-ball or like soccer, and just one day, kind of, my family or my sister more likely was just kind of like, Bryce, you should try something new. And I was like, oh no, I don't really want to. And she kind of did a thing where it was like, quit being a pussy, try something different. I was like, you know what, fuck you. Yeah, I'm gonna try hockey.
Yeah.
I get out there, and it almost just felt natural to me. Like, I go out there and I'm like, I think I was 11 years old, ripping slap shots, top shelf in house league. And they're like, hey, that kid needs to play travel. And then just kind of went through there. And my dad was like, kind of had that conversation with me, like, hey, do you really want to take this serious? Because you kind of have something going. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. As a kid, like, oh yeah, why not? Because you're watching me, you're supporting me, and then just kind of fell in love with it from there.
What made you join the Army?
Don't say Call of Duty. I'll leave.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way. Actually, it was. So I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina, where Fort Bragg is. Well, I guess Fort Liberty now.
No, it'll forever be Fort Bragg.
Yeah, always Fort Bragg. I had a buddy, Mike Cathcart, and Sean Harge, and they were in third group over there on the compound. Excellent. They would actually play like pickup games, and I'd play there as a kid, and just kind of like being around them and seeing them, it kind of motivated me. Like, that's fucking sweet. And then like also, kind of like that Call of Duty. Because I remember, not the game, but like...
you felt it, like you heard this.
I felt it.
Yeah.
Because, core memory is always going to be 9/11, just kind of, my mom, coming home from school, seeing my mom, in tears,
How old were you for 9/11?
I think I was 9.
Okay. Chill, bro, we're going to date ourselves, so...
Yeah, he's the youngest one of the group.
Yeah, he's our baby.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, shit, I am the youngest one. How old are you?
What feels weird?
Hold up. Wait.
Because I'm usually making fun of the other guys who made the youngest ones.
You first.
We didn't plan this, but
before
the
me.
ages go this way from youngest to oldest.
Holy shit, Grandpa!
No way.
Turned 58 this year.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, he's not 58.
Yeah, no way.
It feels
He looked good for 58, dude.
It feels super weird.
I feel like
out of like our group, because I'm used to being the older dude, and like I knew you were younger than I am, but like it's just weird kind of being like, I guess, in the middle, not on the end.
Dude, I'm older than you.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm
by 2 years though, or something like that.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy, but like it's weird not being the oldest guy, for once. So.
That's fair. Anyway, continue.
So you were 9.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah. I was
what's
9.
impressionable
Yeah, I was 9. Yeah, we're just kind of everything kind of registered, and just coming home and then kind of realizing, going to my mom like, hey, what's wrong, and she just kind of explained like, I mean, really, my mom's Filipino, so she can't really like sugarcoat things that well. So she just kind of like, planes hit the towers. I was kind of like, what? And she was, sitting there like, oh my god, and I'm just kind of like, almost kind of like in shock, but like still kind of a kid, like kind of not really understanding it until I got older, and I was just kind of like, kind of when I dropped out of college, and I was just like figuring out what to do with my life, and I was like, you know what, I planned on doing this, I'm going for it, and typical going in there, they try to offer you those jobs that you don't want, and I told them, I was like, they tried to give me 14. They tried to give me 14 Tango, the Patriot missile operator, Dorito eaters.
Good. I'm glad you said that because I was like, what the hell is that?
And I was like, no, dude, no. I want to be out there. I want to do something, and kind of do that thing where you hold out for the day, and then oh wow, something popped up.
Something cool.
No, yeah. So they were like fire support specialist. I was like, oh, that's sweet. Deal fires. Sure. Signed it, and I was out literally like a month later. Yeah, I get there, and I'm like, what the fuck did I just get myself into, But I mean, you learn and overcome, and I love that fucking job. If I could do that job in the civilian world, hands down, would probably leave and do that.
Yeah, dude, you and I talked about that. Like, I remember, like when we first met, I was like, what's your MOS? And I was 13 Fox, and I was like, dude, that is awesome. That job is tits.
Oh my god, dude,
and
so
you
much
said
fun.
the same thing. If I could do that job in the civilian world, I would do it. And I'm like, dude, me too.
Yeah,
I didn't even do it.
Yeah, hey, dude, fucking
Sick.
range control is like the closest thing you can, if you get like aircraft checking in with the fucking soldiers or whatever at like a base, you can always talk to them and kind of relive your glory days. Because I remember doing that at like Fort Stewart, like those old fucking crusty dudes, contractors. They're like talking to aircraft to make sure everything's safe.
Right.
I'm like, you fucking love what you're doing right now. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah. I mean.
And then deploy?
Afghanistan 2013, and then Bulgaria 2015. Afghanistan obviously was a combat tour. I was with SOTF, so more of like a SF uplift. So kind of not the traditional go over there, pull guard tower kind of thing. It was like, we still did the guard tower, but we're actually going out there, supporting operators, doing night raids and stuff like that. So kind of more than what I bargained for, but looking back at it, I'm like, that was fucking sweet. Kind of actually got to do something.
Yeah.
So
That's dope, man.
yeah, man.
You guys got anything else for Bryce?
Now I'm ready to move on. I feel like,
No? Enough about me. What do you think about me? I don't know.
yeah.
All right. If you've been following the channel, I'm obviously Nate. Nate Rosas.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, and also known as Rosie. So I never played hockey as a kid. I think you all kind of have. I played in PE, and
Did you curve the stick?
Yeah. Oh,
You had to curve the stick, dude. Oh yeah.
Mine
You can
was,
tell who.
Oh yeah.
Mine was like out of necessity too, though, because like I'm a lefty in hockey, and everyone when they play in like PE, they're all right-handed.
Yeah,
And so I get up
exactly.
there, I was like, this is weird. I don't like this, and I held the other way. I was like, oh, so I had to curve the hell out of the stick just so I could play properly.
100%.
But that's kind of my only experience. I think I played roller with a buddy in the street once, and I tore my knee up because I was wearing no pads or nothing. But I played football as a kid. I played soccer. I played lots of sports, basketball. So I was used to doing sports and everything. But high school ended. I was a freshman when 9/11 happened. I don't remember what age I was. I could probably figure it out, but it's not important. But that's so my whole time in high school. It was just guys kind of like, oh, I can't wait to graduate so I can go to the military kind of thing. And all my friends that I graduated was going with too, and I had no idea what I was gonna do. I actually tried to join the Air Force. That was the one I like. The Air Force is probably chill, and they obviously have the.
Yeah.
I was missing out on that.
They got the best numbers, so they were never in the office. And like I had to call and leave them a voicemail to tell them I was interested in joining. And my buddies were right down the hall. They're like, "Hey Nate, come check down the Army." And Like they got me, set up right away. Went did maps, did the whole thing. Talking about jobs that they just throw at you. My first contract when I joined that I signed was 13 Fox.
Really?
Yeah, they offered me
Drop
big
the
ass
ball on that
bonus
one.
and everything. And,
I didn't get a fucking bonus, man.
dude,
What
they
the
offered me a
fuck?
ton. And
Jesus.
it was
They're taking smart kids.
I think it was like
Yeah, no shit. I did for twice. I re-enlisted. They still didn't give me a fucking bonus, man.
It was 4 years for $12,000 for a signing bonus, and I was
you.
like, yeah, whatever. And I signed it and went home and told my parents, and they're like, oh, buddy, you don't want to do that. And I was like, okay. And then so I started, finding, like, looking up the Army website, trying to find cool jobs.
And what were you were a senior in high school at that time?
Yeah.
Or a little older?
I was like, it was like right before winter break, I think, when I was first kind of doing that all, kind of prepping for when I got out.
Yeah, so you were very impressionable.
Yeah,
Hey,
extremely.
yeah.
But so I ended up finding out that the Army had Apaches, and I was like, dude, that's fucking sick, dude. Like, it's the whole image, like, you got the Hellfire missiles on the side and everything, and I'm like, man, that'd be cool. Like, just sitting there with those helicopters that just blow shit up, like, that's the job I want. And I went back in and I told him, my recruiter, I wanted to, and he's like, all right. And so he took me up, and Maps was like, all right, you don't get a signing bonus, and you got to do a 6-year contract. And I was like, oh, that's rough, but I mean, that's pretty sick. And so I signed a new contract for
The day you met the green dick.
Yeah, this is the first time. And so I went.
This is nice.
I went and I did 6 years as an Apache mechanic. It was like maintainer, crew chief role. I didn't even get to fuck with the missiles, which sucked, but it was whatever. Like,
Did you ever get to put the helmet on where, like, wherever you're looking, the weapon
no,
follows?
they're pretty.
No,
stringent.
lie
actually,
to us. Lie to us.
yeah.
Lie to us. Tell us that you
Say I did some cool shit. It was like
no
VR,
one knows. They don't
whatever.
fucking know. They don't
Sell it,
Someone
Nate.
just-
Come on,
It's
man.
funny because like the job I thought I was getting, where I get to fuck with missiles and shit, those guys got to sit in the thing and sitting there.
And
They'd
you
be
were
like-
there.
They'd be like,
'cause
"Hey,
you got
Roses,
to
watch
try
this,"
it.
and they'd just be looking, and I see the big old cannon flopping their dick around underneath it. I'm like, "Yeah, your job's cool, whatever,"
Yeah.
So, but
Dick.
it was cool. Like I got to, like I was a gearhead anyways. Like I always wanted to work with cars, so like doing it on the helicopter, like taking it all apart and everything,
Yeah.
that was fun to me. But I did that. I did 3 years in the Illinois Guard when I got out as a Blackhawk maintainer, crew chief, which was way better because I got to fly with a helicopter.
Yeah,
And,
you'll be in there.
That's
dude,
fun.
flying
So-
is so much more fun. It was always great. Like we'd do dumb shit in the Guard, like go to like a range or something, and there'd be other units there, and they'd drive there, they'd convoy, and we'd be getting ready to leave, and we see them like lining up their convoy, just hating life, and we're all just sitting in the field, just bullshitting, and all of a sudden a bunch of helicopters come in, we jump on and fly out, and they're all just looking at us as we're about to get in the truck. So it had its perks. But then I did all my time, and I was living in Illinois, and a buddy of mine I worked with, he's like, he invited me to come sub for his team for hockey, and it was called deck hockey, D-E-K. And I didn't know, he didn't explain that to me, so I'm thinking deck, like, are we gonna go play hockey on your fucking porch, dude? Like, what are we doing, man? Like, all right, whatever.
What is this?
And it was a really cool setup. The guy who owns it, like, he's a fucking great dude. I miss the hell out of him because he's a solid dude. But I played one game, and I'd never played hockey, and so they needed a goalie, and I was like, hey man, like I'll be the goalie, and like that way I can kind of watch the whole game go on and kind of get a sense of how the game's played. And I watched like YouTube videos on how to butterfly and all that kind of shit, and I went there, got all the gear on, which was gross because it was the middle of summer and it was all it's outside in shoes, you're running, and so everybody's all sweaty, and the goalie gear, unless you have your own, was
Sweat's gross.
it comes off on one game and it goes right on to the next game, and it was disgusting. But I was in goal, did an okay job. We ended up losing by 3. The final score was 16-13. And so I was like, yeah, I'm never playing goal again, but this hockey thing's kind of fun. And so I was hooked. I played there for a couple of years until I moved and had to transition to the ice game, and I've been playing for like 10 years since. So, I mean, it's a blast, like, especially finding like warrior hockey, like getting to play with you guys and other vets and everything, like that's what keeps me in hockey. And then, doing the social media stuff is fun on the side, but yeah, I love it.
What year did you go into the military?
I went in 05.
05.
Yeah.
Deploy?
Yeah, I went Afghanistan 2009,
Okay.
My first year that I was like off on my own, I went to Korea, which was kind of neat. Like I got to see the DMZ and the fake cities and shit over there.
That place is fucking wild.
Yeah, dude.
I've always wanted to go, man.
It is
fucking
insane,
wild.
dude. Like
To
especially
see like rock soldiers and then see
Yeah.
the North Koreans. Like,
And then like the line, like
it's
Yeah.
fucking
And, like,
wild.
I was an 18-year-old kid, and they're like, "Hey, go to this foreign country or this other foreign country that fucking hates us."
Wants to literally kill you if you cross a line.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like hanging out with my buddies in a country that nobody speaks my language, and
That's wild.
you know, just getting drunk down in the fucking Ville, and all these Korean people looking at you. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
sounds like a
I
good
didn't get
time to
drunk
me,
at
I don't
18, definitely didn't, but you know, other people did.
You were
Sure you didn't.
Juicy Girls?
I ran into Juicy Girls. I never bought them juicy.
No.
No, fuck that. Nah, you see the guys, they got these big ass bowls of fucking juice, all that bullshit that they gotta pay forever for, and you know, they're trying to get that Korean wife. I knew a bunch of guys that got that Korean wife. Some stayed in Korea for years.
Wow.
And then others
Yeah.
are trying to get their wife home. It was super funny, but it was a neat time, you know, like I got to experience an entirely different culture than my own, you know.
That's dope.
For a whole year, so it was
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
And then Afghanistan was dope. I obviously didn't do, you know, as much as you guys did. I did a little bit of flying around, but I was just fucking chilling. I had a really cake deployment actually, like, cause I got tasked out with 717 Cav. You guys rock. And so yeah, I was in charge of getting all the aircraft parts in and out of our fob. And so, like, I had a gator that was like my personal gator because I had to go get parts all the time. Like, yeah, dude, it was chill. It was definitely not the same as what you guys probably did.
Were you at a Bagram?
No, thank God. I fucking hated Bagram. We flew into Bagram, and then I was at in JBAD, Fob Fenty.
Okay, I was out at Shank.
Shank, yeah, my buddies that were like in my unit that got tasked out too, and they were part of the group that set up Shank.
Like right after I left, they had given Shank to the fucking AUP.
Yeah.
And I think the AUP lost in like 3 months of the T-band. So, yeah.
Not surprised,
Yeah.
but it was dope. I had a great time in the military, and you know, met some really cool people that I still talk to, you know, today, and then you know, get to combine my love of, you know, that time in the military and share it with you guys, and like add hockey onto that. Like, it's a lot of cool. Like, and then like we go across the country for Warrior, and you know, meet other dudes, you know, that has done the same shit. Sometimes we know them, and it's very cool. I love it.
Yeah, man.
We love you.
It's crazy who you might run into with the Warrior hockey stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like the guy, Sean Harge, that I was looking up to when I was a kid, actually ran into him at the Gateway Classic 2 years ago. He was playing for the Carolina team. Just saw him and his wife at the bar.
Oh,
and I was
yeah?
like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, caught up, and that's when I was drinking. But, you know, caught up, had a beer. But, you know, it's such a small community, just like the Army or, you know, military in general.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I thought I ran into like when we were in I want to say the St. Louis tournament. Maybe it was Denver. I don't remember. I want to say St. Louis. But there was this center that I was taking a lot of face-offs against, and he had long hair. There was like some pink in his hair, and I'm like, oh, this dude's he's been out for a minute, right? And then at one of the get-togethers, whatever, we were drinking at the bar,
Like the
same,
social?
same shit, yeah.
Yeah.
And I see he's got a shirt on that's got an old scroll from Ranger Battalion. I'm like, no fucking way, dude. Like, this guy was battalion. He's an older dude. I'm like, this guy's got to be back in the day. So naturally, I went up and chatted him up and was like, hey, did you jump in here? Did you jump in here? And he's giving me all sorts of stories that I can't even keep up with. You know?
cool.
And I'm just like, and I got a photo of him on my Instagram that I'm taking a face off against, and I'm like, that guy would kill me. Like, I'm winning the face off, but in real life, he's gonna kill me.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, hey, and I want to say he was a Carolina guy too.
Yeah.
And then there was another bat boy on one of the Carolina. He's got the diamond sticker on the back of his bucket, and I was like, why do I know you from? We don't know each other, but he's got the sticker, and then we got got to drinking and
Yeah.
whatever.
Chatting it up.
But the community is ridiculously small and close.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up because
It's surprising how much of us like actually play hockey, like,
Mm-hmm.
because that's one of the things you kind of never talk about. Like when you're in, you don't talk about kind of stuff you did. I guess like I don't know. I can't think of anyone I ever met that I know like their life story. Kind of even what we were just talking about. Like you just kind of living in the moment almost. And like and then when I came here to Vegas when I moved from Illinois, like I was just trying to drop in wherever I could to skate and. Like I was skating with people, and then I got invited to Vegas Veterans, and then I'd go to one of their skates, and I'm like, dude, I've been skating with you for probably like a fucking year now, and I never knew you were a veteran. 'Cause we just don't talk about that either,
Yeah.
So it's wild, it's cool. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
Go ahead, Zach.
And we love you here, and we're glad you made this brand.
Yeah.
That brought us all here.
Well, I'm happy
And
you guys
made
are
the
joining
podcast.
us.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
it's
gonna
not
be
a it's
The
not a
brains
podcast,
behind
but-
everything, everyone, is this guy.
No, there's not
I
much
mean,
brain.
Forsberg mustache and all. Is,
That thing is.
Oh, that's I'll explain that real quick.
That's
Before we
I
move
knew
on.
there was something,
Because
dude.
people ask about it all the time. When I lived in Illinois, I was a firefighter, and it was right after I got out, so I had everything growing, beard, hair, all that, and I had to shave it. My wife didn't like it, and so when I got done with academy,
They never do.
yeah, when I got done with academy, she's like, "You need something." I was like, "Well, I can do the mustache," and so I did that, and then I was a medic here in Vegas for a while, and so everyone knows me as like the guy with the mustache. Like I've shaved it for fire interviews before, and like people like
Put it back on.
You're not that guy. You're not that guy.
Undo that. Undo
Throw it
that.
back out.
I don't like it. Yeah.
I don't like it either. It's awful. But, that's where the mustache has come from. So that's it. I'm done talking about myself. Zach, it's your turn.
No, I love it, and I love the mustache. Because mine is I thought my mustache was cool, but I got rid of it because yours is like way cooler. So
Set the bar.
Yeah, you were supposed to have that for all November, dude.
yeah, I got that. Nope.
Household 6 knocked that down.
What's up?
Household 6 knocked that down.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying. At home boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I don't put anything on her. I just look at myself in the mirror with it, and I'm like, dude,
Some people can do mustaches, some people can't.
Yeah, you pull it off.
You pull it off.
Oh yeah,
well.
100%.
I'm completely against that. If you want to rock a mustache, it doesn't matter if it's whiskers, if it's glorious.
No, I mean
you
like
fucking
some
rock
people
that
look
stash.
retarded with mustaches.
Oh yeah,
Like,
some
I
people
just-
don't need it.
I look retarded with
Yeah,
mustache.
Like I
I kind of remember yours, and I think it was semi-retarded.
see what I'm saying? Like I just look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, dude, you look like 8 years older than you really are. Take that down. So
It's
I
like the
took-
same dude's like a patchy beard. It's like, bro, just
Just
shave it. Or, yeah.
Keep shaving it so it'll grow stronger.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Live your life.
Let him live.
Do a mustache if you want.
Yeah. So I guess it's my turn.
Yep.
My name is Zach. Grew up here in Las Vegas. I'm one of the few that's born and raised.
Oh shit, you're like Vegas born.
Yeah, dude. Straight up Vegas born.
That's fucking legit.
And
you're a Knights fan.
yeah.
That's fucking
Naturally,
legit.
I mean, I grew up a Kings fan, so
Oh.
Until
right?
they brought a team home. Yeah.
So the guy. I mean, as a kid, watching the Mighty Ducks, kind of jumping into how I got into hockey, I guess. Watching the Mighty Ducks, and you're just like, okay, I'm going to do that. That's what I want to do. I want to do it on the ice. I want to do it on the street. I want to do it on the pickup basketball courts. I want to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time, was that 93-ish?
Yeah.
And Gretz was with the Kings, and I'm like, oh, he's, there's Gretzky and the Kings, and it's Los Angeles is a few hours away.
Yeah,
That's-
it makes
that's our
sense
team.
by proximity.
Yeah.
What, are you going to be a Coyotes fan?
Yeah.
That team doesn't even exist.
Right?
Team in the Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I just grew up a Kings fan. I was like, I love the Kings, and then and then after the movie, the Anaheim Ducks happened, and I'm like, well, I can't be a Ducks fan. I like the Ducks, but I'm still a Kings fan. So I just kind of always was a Kings fan. But yeah, obviously being born and raised here, I'm a Knights fan. So with that, I mean, like kind of like you, Nate. I played a lot of sports, man. I did a lot of karate, actually. Karate until I was in my early 20s,
Nice.
like consistently. And quite honestly, too, that was like Karate Kid, the Three Ninjas and all
Oh,
that,
yeah,
all
Three
those,
Ninjas.
all the movies. I was inspired by a lot of movies. But the Mighty Ducks were always there, and I just remember trying to play pickup games and having nets like this, makeshift ones. Do you remember recycle crates that everyone would put out their in their, like, we have the recycle bins, right? That look like trash cans.
Yeah, I
But
know.
now
what
they
you're
have the
talking
crates,
about,
the red, white, and
crate.
blue ones.
Yeah,
Those
ours
were our
were
goals.
closed,
Those were the goals.
Oh yeah, because you just tip it,
Put it on the side, yeah.
and
Put it
you
on the
just
side.
shoot like roller hockey pucks
Yeah.
Oh,
or
yeah.
balls in it. Yeah,
That was it.
absolutely.
That's how we did it. And me and my buddies, and ironically, one of my buddies who had a lot to do with my military time, we grew up around the corner from each other, so played a lot of hockey that way, just out in the street, rollerblading. I'm like, I can rollerblade. Let's do this. You know, and my parents, bless their hearts, they did everything they could to get me to play. And we went to those sports stores where it's like they're hand-me-downs, like
Yeah.
play
Play
again
again, yeah.
sports.
Yeah.
We went to those, and they're like, hey, this stick works, cool. And I was a lefty,
Yeah.
didn't know.
Weirdos.
I
And
think
then-
all three of us are lefties except
Weirdos.
except you, you're the only
You're
one.
off the
Weirdos.
podcast.
You're all fucking weirdos.
You can go sit in the corner now.
You'll be the cameraman.
Yeah.
Use it with your offhand.
And so around the same time, it all happened like all at once, bro, guys. Like so in third grade, I had this teacher. His name was Mr. Blumstrom. Call him Mr. B. We had got to give that guy a shout out because he was from New York. Huge Rangers fan. I want to say it was the Rangers, but I could be wrong. He might be pissed if he watches this.
Both
Because he might be an Islanders. No, he might be an Islanders fan.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
don't
want to
get
say
those
Rangers.
guys
a
mixed
rough
up.
life.
I know. I want to say
It's like the same place, though.
I want to say
Oh.
Rangers, you know, but he might kill me. But I knew he was a Giants fan. I knew that. But he would always have this thing for us that was called EAT. It was an acronym for extra earned activity time. All right, and so he would have it up on the board. He would write it 30 minutes, 45 minutes if we were good. And he would take away time if we were bad. And it was usually hockey in the cafeteria. And we were like, and so watching the Mighty Ducks, and I did the whole thing. I curved the blade.
You had to.
To the left,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they were all these little plastic PE type things, and I would just take every ripper I could, and it got to the point where he was like, "Hey, you got to sit down for a little bit because you're just sending it way too much." Obviously, he didn't say that; those weren't the words back then, but I had to sit down for a little bit because I was a little
Tone it down a bit.
little
there.
too much,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and because
Doing too much. Pop down.
they're all the girls are playing out there too, and all the dudes who didn't want to play hockey, you know.
If you don't want to block shots, get out of the way.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, like if you don't want to play goalie, you don't want to get hit, get out of there. So, and anyways, so that same year, my same buddy who is a part of my military enlistment, I broke his nose on the playground because we would take our blades, we would take our sticks, we would take those. Remember the pucks with the wheels in them?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Little balls, yeah.
Yep.
We would take those to school and we would set up the cones for every recess and we would just go nuts. And he was attendee. He wanted to be in net. He wanted to be in net. He wanted to be in goal. And of course, it's a wall. And I wasn't really getting any in. I was getting a little upset. I was getting a little pissed. So I hit this clapper and hit him right here, right in the
Ooh.
nose. And I can still see it today. And he just drops and there's just blood everywhere. And I'm just like, you know, like 9 years old or whatever, going, oh God, this is really happening right now.
I'm
And
in
it-
some shit.
And I guess and like everyone just like, oh, poor Peter. Like when he left, his mom came to get him or the ambulance or whatever. I don't remember that, but and we're in class and after that lunch period, and everyone's like, poor Peter. Oh my God. I'm like, thank you for making me feel so much better about myself right now.
It was a good shot, though. You know.
It was really good. I mean, it went in.
There you go. Mission accomplished. Yeah.
So, anyways, I kept going with it. Played a lot of roller out here in Vegas because I think at the time there was maybe only like one sheet of ice out here, and it was at the Santa Fe of all places. It wasn't at Texas Station, which isn't there anymore, which is Hilo Park.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, it's Hilo Park. So that wasn't there when I was a kid. It was a Santa Fe, and that was like, we had a bunch of little Mike teams and Pee Wee teams. It was like the Mustangs. I was on the Lightning, which is now the Storm.
Okay.
So that's cool. And like Jason Zucker played at the Storm here, and
That's dope.
So that's something I'm like, yeah, I don't like know him, but cool.
Hey, he's here. Yeah.
You know, so there wasn't a lot of ice. There was a lot of roller. I got on the ice a lot, and then it got to a point where I think I was like 13, and it was like, hey, we can't really foot this bill anymore. So either play, and I was really into basketball too. So I'm like, all right, I'm just hooping. Played basketball until I got sick of it, and wound up moving to Los Angeles after high school, and went to some pickup games out there a lot. And the hockey out there was pretty, I don't want to knock anybody, but it was pretty cake.
Yeah.
And I was like there's roller beach hockey out there, which is pretty dope. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty sick. I think there's like an Instagram page about it too, and they're pretty good. But any pickup ice hockey out there was pretty cake. And I don't know, I just got bored, and I kind of got into like, I'm just gonna work behind the scenes, doing camera work, production assistant, whatever. Honestly, I met a lot of girls.
Yeah.
And all I did was surf and work out. I was like, I'm good.
Straight up Cali boy right
That's
there.
good. It's like
Can't get much more Cali than that, man.
That's all I was gonna do. I was like, I don't need hockey. I don't need whatever. But earlier we brought up 9/11, and that was pretty prominent. And still to this day, as today I am a professional firefighter here in Vegas, and that had a lot to do with my career trajectory. I was a little older than Jerky when it happened, but
Quite a bit, right?
yeah, it was.
How old?
Significantly older, if I recall.
In high school.
You were probably at least a sophomore.
16.
Sophomore,
I was
junior.
16.
Yeah.
Almost double my age, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah.
I'll feel it more on my back.
And I just remember going in, and like, it was just weird. Like the TVs were on, and I'm just like, okay.
Right, yeah.
Like, and talking to the guys and whatever, just hanging out, and I'm just like, what are we doing? They're like, we're watching this. I'm like, what is this? And that was a big deal. And then honestly, I went into my folks, and I'm like, hey, I want to be a sniper. I want to go take the fight to the bad guys.
As one does, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's what I want to do. And so my parents were kind of like, what?
Yeah.
No. And I was like 16, and I'm like, no, this is what I'm going to do. Like, that's where I want to go. Obviously, with what I just talked about, going to Los Angeles had nothing to do with that, because it had a lot to do with how they felt. And I was like, and I respect them and love them. They're amazing. They're amazing grandparents to my kids. They're awesome. So naturally, I was like, okay, I respect that. I'm not going to go that route and do something else. Eventually, into my mid-20s, I said, hey, look, I got nothing holding me here. I got nothing holding me to Vegas, to California, to nothing. So going back to that guy who I broke his nose in third grade, at the time he was a combat controller, or going through the pipeline for the Air Force.
Yeah.
And I said, hey man, I'm looking at all these different jobs, a couple different branches. What do you think? What do you say? He's like, hey, well, I'm in the combat controller pipeline. This is this, this is this, this is this, giving me all sorts of information. And I said, well, the PJs sound pretty cool. And he's like, hey man, go do that then. Like, they go through the same school, they go through the same selection process, I guess. At the time, he was trying to explain it to me. And they get all these cool schools, and then you come out and you're a medic, search and rescue, special tactics, whatever. And I'm like, cool. I think I was like in the gym parking lot, and I'm like, well, sounds great. And so like the next day or a couple days later, I went to a recruiter, and that he emailed. He emailed one of them and said, hey, I'm gonna go down. My buddy's gonna go down and talk to you. So I went down there. I did their PT test, did their whole thing, or what they call the PST or something.
It's like half an Army PT test.
Yeah, well, there was like a swim. It's like their special tactics.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, they go through
yeah,
a different thing.
Yeah, it's like their special tactics one. Mm-hmm. Today it's like the special warfare. They have a whole
that
special
sounds right.
warfare section now. So I did that. I did well, had a contract lined up, and they're like, yeah, we'll ship you out in like 12 months. No, man, I'm trying to go to like tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
You mean like 12 months? And they said, well, we have to like fill your class, and you're like one of the first ones.
Oh,
I'm like,
dang.
I don't want to do that. Like, I'm bartending right now.
That's a whole year sitting in limbo, dude. Yeah.
Dude, I don't want to be, just doing this and pouring. I want to do this for the next 12 months. Like, went next door because it was like an armed services center, career center.
Yeah, of course.
So I went next door, and they're like, you had like the Army's like, hey, stand right here, I'll take you. I'm like, sick, And I went in as I went in as a 11 Bravo infantryman. Nothing in the
Get a
contract.
RIP contract?
Nothing. I had no contract. I had no jump school. I had no RASP. No 18 X-ray. No nothing. I was 11 Bravo. Or I'm sorry. No, it was 11 X-ray. So I was like, you don't even know if you're a Bravo or a Charlie.
Yeah.
And so I was like, done. I'll get what I can when I get there. And because I'm stupid. So for anybody watching this, get it in your contract.
100%.
Just get it in your contract.
Whatever it is, get it in.
It saves you the stress and anxiety that I had for at least like 5 weeks. So long story short, in basic training, these big old yoked up dudes in tan berets came to our basic and they were like, I need roster number, boom, 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 boom. And there was like 8 of us. And I was like, oh shit, that was one of mine. Cool. So I went over there and they're like reading off this piece of paper like they just didn't give a fuck. Like they could do without us. But they were like told to be there. So they were like, all right, this is the pipeline, RAS, this, that, and the other, based on your MOS, you'll go do this or whatever. Any questions? And me, I'm like, they're like, what? I'm like, where do I sign? And they're like, boom, right here. Sign that, and like the rest is history. So went to jump school, pre-RASP, RASP, or actually before pre-RASP, they sent us to special ops prep school or preparation course in Bragg.
Nice.
Your hometown.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I was like a holdover for like a month or so, and then we went to SOPC. They had a lot of SF guys, a lot of 18 X-rays. We did a lot of land nav, working out, land nav, workout, sleep, and that's what we did for like months or like 2 months. And that prepared us really well for RASP. We went down to RASP and pre-RASP and RASP. Pre-RASP was just a smoke section.
Yeah.
For weeks, and it was good. Went through RASP, got to battalion, and it was a good time. Was the new guy for a while, and Iraq. I got voluntold to do like the EMT and medic thing, so that was cool. They were like, "Who's an EMT?" Or they said, "You're an EMT, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, like 9 years ago."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Cool, you're gonna go do this school." All right.
Sweet. Yeah.
So it's more stuff for me to carry, and
Yeah.
helping the boys out. Cool. We did some cool stuff, man. Like battlefield blood transfusion training, like which was pretty wicked. Never
Yeah.
had to do it, thank God. But my buddy did it on me. Funny story. We were going through it, and had the IV in this hand, in this arm, and it was going through for like the blood transfusion portion. It was supposed to go back here, and I don't know what happened, but the guy who was doing it messed something. I don't want to say he messed something up because I don't want to knock him, but I just remember I just went down. Like, next thing I know, the PA who's teaching the class is like lifting my feet up, and I'm just like, oh, the ceiling looks really nice, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you passed that? Did you eat today? I'm like, dude, I had like I had this huge breakfast. I don't know what happened, but that was fun.
Yeah. Passing out is fun.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
it
definitely
was interesting.
Yeah.
I never really.
Did you
had
kind
one.
of come like wake up on your own, or did somebody manually wake you up?
No, I woke up on my own, but they
Okay.
they let I'm down.
Yeah.
Because my head hurt because I hit the fucking floor. And,
Yeah.
but they put my feet up on the chair to get the blood rushing back, to your head, and everything kind of came back.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
And they're like, you're gonna eat. That's what's
Yeah.
next.
Here's an Oreo.
Here's a Gatorade and drink everything. And so, sorry, the phone vibrates. But yeah, that was fun during that school. And then got out of the military because my wife got pregnant. And I remember telling her, I was like, yeah, if I ever get out of the military, that's why.
Yeah.
Is a kid. And she did this really good surprise for me, back up in Washington, and it was really cool for me to find out that way. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna start the ETS process because I'm not gonna be going around the other side of the world anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so my oldest boy, you know, got me out, and I did some time in the Guard out here in Nevada, and like the recon section and things of that nature. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Going from active to the Guard is insane.
It's a very big difference.
Yeah, because you're drilled like they got you full time active duty, and like everything's just drilled into you. Like you have to do everything exactly how we say. And there's things you could go to like almost any post, and it's all kind of the same shit. And then like I went to the Guard, and I never when I had to go to school, and so I had never gone to my unit first. They just sent me straight to school, and like I'm meeting all these dudes, and they're all like super laid back and like casual about everything, and like I'm freaking out. I don't have my PT belt on at one time, and they're like,
What?
What the hell's that?" And I'm like, "Dude, it is insane here." But, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. I mean, I like to think that the soft community is pretty lax from big Army standards.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like in Ranger Battalion, we keep a lot of same standards because we keep a high standard. But there's a lot that can. I mean, 2nd Ranger Battalion, you know, they call us Money Bat. You know, the boys, you know, guys with longer hair. You know, because we're way away from the flagpole, which is how we like it. So you know.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, it was fun. I keep in contact with a couple guys. One of the guys I know is a canine cop up Utah somewhere. He's a stud, you know, young dude. He's a stud. But yeah, so you're saying keeping in contact with some of your guys, and in contact with a couple of mine too. So it's nice, and you know, I got back into hockey, coming back here, obviously, and you know, the Knights came up, and we've been trying to get the NHL to Vegas forever. I remember seeing billboards years and years ago, like bring the NHL to Vegas, bring the NHL to Vegas, and I'm kind of looking at those driving around the freeways, going, I don't think that's gonna happen. I just don't see it. And then it popped up. And that was like game over. And I was like, oh, thank God, dude. Because we were moving back. And then the Knights came up. And honestly, I'm gonna throw out James Neal. James Neal was one of my favorite players for a long time. And he was one of our originals. And I was just like, oh, we're in business.
Yeah.
And, you know, I growing up, you know, I was just like, all right, I'm going to, you know, I think he's your age.
James?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
He's your age or he's close to mine. I don't know. But I remember just watching him like, all right, the next time I skate, I'm going to try and skate like that. A little more powerful, a little more, I don't know. But it was fun to watch, and I can relate to that, his game.
Yeah.
And so I mean, still today, I'll try to do that, you know, with all the beer league hockey we play. Yeah, and then the Warrior tournaments. I know it's dear to you, Jerkies, and it is to me, dude. Because like you and I talked about it a little bit, a couple times before, and I agree. I agree with you how how you feel connected to it with how, because for me it's the same thing, dude. Saving me, it did. It's good. It's good to have.
Yeah. We
can go and we can share this love for this game and the competitiveness we have and the camaraderie, and then we all kind of share similar experiences, and we can all go out there on the ice, and yeah, we can be enemies for what, an hour?
An hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
You know, and then we're getting drunk.
You're
Or
drinking
whatever,
with
you
them.
know, like,
as soon as the game's over.
you know, because we're all in this. You know, I got a guy on my fire crew right now. He's just always hollering, same team, and that's true. It's true. As cliche and nerdy as it is, it's true. So it does for me a lot, you know, and working out here on the streets as a fireman, like, you know, you seeing and dealing with a lot of stuff. It's nice to have the boys to be around.
Yeah.
and connect. So
It's the outlet that we didn't know that we needed
yeah,
until we got into it.
yeah, absolutely. And I as soon as when my kids were born, I became a big softie.
Oh yeah, yeah. They
Yeah.
tend to do that. They tend to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because I tell my wife, I'm like, I was an airborne ranger, and now I'm like these little dudes snack bitch.
Sometimes that's how it rolls, man.
Which is I'm all good with.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Like you guys saw, we were setting up here. They come in here 1,000 times. I'm like, all right, dude. Let's go
Sometimes
and
they're
do
a lot,
something.
but they offer that peace and clarity.
They
for
do,
sure.
man.
Yeah.
They do. We watched before you guys got over here. We watched Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Oh
The second one.
man.
Because they love the
Man,
other one.
those movies
Honey,
are
I Shrunk the
nostalgic.
Kids. They love that one. And they're like,
Yeah.
well, what's that one? I'm like, just watch.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And I'm just sitting there on the couch and, my wife comes out. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching a movie with the kids. What do you want me to do?
Dude,
So-
I'm being a dad, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so I just became a big softie, and it got me into, it opened me up to connecting with everyone a lot better than I would have maybe like 10 years ago. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I'm happy with it, and happy that we're doing this.
What years were you at Fort Lewis?
13 to 17.
Yeah.
You? Because I know you were there.
2002 through
A little bit before me.
5.
He's old. He's pretty old.
Yeah.
He doesn't look old. He doesn't look old.
Yeah. Lewis is a cool area.
It is,
I
man.
definitely enjoyed my time out there. It's a special place.
We didn't want to leave. I'll tell you that.
When did you move out here?
We moved back. I say we moved back because wifey's from here too.
Gotcha.
We
Yeah.
went to high school together.
Yeah, you guys were high school sweethearts.
No, we weren't, dude. We weren't.
No,
high
so you guys connected after.
It's
Yeah.
after.
Okay.
Dude, we weren't high school.
You had to go
sweethearts.
do your Cali stuff and then.
Right, I
Yeah.
had to go be a dipshit. And she knows that. She's like, you're an idiot, But it led you to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still an idiot, but like we weren't, dude. Like our moms knew each other because they worked together. And then she was like, my mom was like, hey, do you know this girl? I'm like, yeah. She's like, what do you think of her? I'm like, she's hot. She's like, why don't you date her? I'm like, well, that girl, she's not the woman you date. I think I said something like, she's not the girl you date in high school. She's a girl you date when you're ready or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 17. And then like 10 years later, I'm like, what up?
And then that was it. Had you locked in.
That was it. Well, all right, so I was in Bragg.
Okay.
I was in Bragg, and like I hadn't seen her for years, and we had a 4-day weekend for 4th of July, and since we were in a pipeline, we couldn't leave. They were like, "Hey, we're not giving you guys passes. You guys have started the pipeline, so you're here. Don't do anything dumb. These people are on quarters or whatever." Firewatch, whatever they called it at the time.
yeah.
CQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys are on CQ. And so I'm like, oh, thank God it's not me. But I was like, hey, I can't come back and visit. They won't give us passes. And she goes, all right, I'm coming out. I was like, oh,
Like from
Shit.
Vegas.
from Vegas to Carolina. And I was like, oh, all right.
Came out that shithole?
That's what's up, man.
Yep. And
That's
we
wild.
spent the 4th of July weekend in like Carolina Beach.
Okay.
In Wilmington. And
Yep.
it was like when there was a hurricane out there. So our first date was like out in a hurricane. It was sick.
I remember you telling me this story.
Yeah?
Yeah. It was like cloudy and shit. Dude, it was like,
bad.
oh.
It was raining everywhere.
Yeah.
And we're like, get in the cab. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was 4th of July weekend. So, but then the next day was actual 4th of July and everything cleared up. And so we got to see this fireworks show. And me in my head, I got a million voices in my head, I'm just like, hey man, any woman that's like willing to fly across the country for you, like, might be a thing.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So the rest is history, and I don't know. She's my hero, so good to go.
Yeah, man. Sweet. Are we on to
Zen is
Yeah, we
next.
got
old
one.
Zio down there?
You know what I was just thinking
Just gonna
about?
crack open another one for this one.
Do we know that thing is still recording? I was just thinking.
It's just
about
been
it.
dead for the last like 15 minutes.
How do you know if it's recording? Does it blink at you?
Well, the battery's pretty good.
It lasts like 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I think I got cut off at some point.
Nah,
No.
it'll be alright.
All right. Let's get into it. So I go by Zemi. First name's Rob.
How do you pronounce your last name? Like
Zemsik.
Zemsik? Where does that
How
originate
it's
from?
spelled?
It's from the same place your people are from.
What's that?
Czech Republic, baby.
Yeah, baby.
I thought you were about to say Filipino.
That's yeah, man. Lumpia, bro. Some good ass food, B.
Oh shit. So yeah, I'm older than these guys. I went into the military in like 2001, right after September 11th. I guess a little backstory, since you kind of went like childhood for hockey, and then into military service, and then kind of hockey now. I'll break mine into 3 sections. I would say that, in the early 90s, I was playing a lot of like baseball and stuff. I was a little kid, like maybe, probably at that point I was 8, and I wanted to do something different. Like I wanted to play football. I wanted to do something aggressive, and my parents for some reason thought hockey was safe. So they're like, you can play hockey. I was like, okay. So I played roller hockey for a little bit. I started off as a defenseman. I kept like sliding in front of the puck and like trying to stop it. And my parents are like, that's not the point of the defenseman. Like you need to stop plays, but you need to move it forward too. And I was like, well, I want to stop pucks. They were like, well, that's a goalie. So I started playing goalie.
Your poor parents.
My poor parents. I love you, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry. Yeah, my poor parents at 8 years old being a goalie until he was 18 or 19 years old. I think I went through at least 5 different pairs of pads. I went through 4 because at one point when I was in middle school, my dad bought me pads that he was convinced I would grow into within the next 4 or 5 years. So they were extremely large, and eventually I hit a growth spurt and grew into them. But yeah, played hockey quite a bit. You brought up played against sports, and it's kind of funny because played against sports ended and started my hockey life. I was pretty good at goalie. At one point, I was rated in like the top 5 goalies in the state of Florida. I know that sounds fucking weird, but somehow, some way, my sophomore or junior year, Lake Superior had recruiters out at one of the tournaments I was at, and they actually interviewed me afterwards and asked me if I was interested. My parents weren't really on board with the idea of me leaving, and I was torn between the fact of like, I kind of wanted to go into the military because I was super dumb educationally wise. Like, I felt like I could have played hockey, but I was afraid that would screw up the scholarship because like I had to like cheat a lot in high school and like copy people's papers and look at what the answers were. And a couple of my friends would actually share the answers with me because we had a GPA minimum to stay on the high school hockey team, and I was the starting fucking goalie. I think my like sophomore year I was on the varsity team. And I really wanted to do hockey, but again, thought I wasn't smart enough. And then I had some fucking dickhead recruiter in 10th grade tell me that I looked like I would do really good as a computer guy. And it's kind of funny because I am a computer guy.
I was saying, now, man.
But
He read it pretty accurately.
Yeah.
This dude came into our class, gave us a little spiel about the Army, joined, get money for college, go do something in the real world. And I went up to him at the end of class and I told him, I was like, hey man, like I want to do this stuff where like you jump out of airplanes, you shoot, like blow stuff up, stuff like that. We weren't in a time of war, so I was just like, I want to do that stuff. He's like, son, what's your name? He puts his arm around me. I'm probably like $115 at this point. Like I'm a small little dude.
So like 10 pounds lighter than you are now.
Exactly. And He's like, are you good with computers? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, we have computer engineer degrees and we are computer engineer positions and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. I'm like, what about the other job? He's like, whoa, you mean infantry? You mean like 11 Bravos? You mean Rangers, SF, all that stuff, Delta? I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. And he put his arm around me and told me I was too small to do that. And it pissed me the fuck off. It became like a redemption thing. Like, I'm going to prove this motherfucker wrong, who I have known for a total of 30 minutes. And pre-September 11th, it was summer of 2001. I had just gone out of high school. I graduated in 2001. And I was trying to figure out if I was going to go to college. I had already turned down the scholarship offer. And I kind of wanted to go into the military. So I went to the recruiter. I went with an SF guy who had been in for, at that point, I think like 18 years. And he was an E8. And he was like, listen, like, give him the contract that he wants or whatever. So I got a RIP contract originally. So I was supposed to go into the Ranger Introductory Program.
Back when it was RIP and not RASP.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
That's why I asked you earlier when you said RASP, I was like, oh yeah, they changed it.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, it was called RIP. But anyways.
Harder.
I don't know if it was harder or not.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. So I had a RIP contract. I had airborne. I was pretty stoked. I was pretty set. I left for MEPS in August. And while I was at MEPS, Amanda, cover your ears, I met a girl. And I was like, I need to go hang out with that girl. So I was running downstairs. I'm in great shape because I've been training with an SF dude all fucking summer. And I fucking tripped, tore ligaments in my ankle. I begged them to ship me off. I was like, just ship me off. Please ship me off. And I'm like, I'll recover at Fort Benning. Like, I just need to go. Like, I had just left my parents like 24 hours before. And they're like, yeah, we can't send you because like you're not in the Army yet. Like, you haven't left MEPS. I'm like, fuck. So I had to go back and I had to recover for however long it takes to recover from like torn ligaments. I want to say it was like 10 weeks, something like that. It was a little longer than like a break. They even told me it would have been better if I broke it.
Mm-hmm. One of those.
So I recovered, and ironically, I got put on crutches around like September 8th, September 9th, like right before September 11th. And September 11th happened. Obviously, it's a traumatic effect for all of us, hence why we went into the military. I was like, fuck that. Like, because I was at the point where my contract was null and void because it exceeded like 90 days. Or exceeded a year and 90 days or something like that. Because I was in a delayed entry program too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, like, that contract's up. Like, you got to come back. So I went back and basically told them, hey, like, I want the same thing. And they're like, oh, well, there's this new unit in Fort Lewis that's going to be good. And there's a Ranger program out there. And you can be a part of Ranger Battalion out there after you get there. And I was like, yeah, like, whatever it takes. Like, I want to be a Ranger. Like, I want to go in. I want to do this. I want to do that. They were like, yeah, you can add on things in basic or whatever. And I'm like, okay, let's just do this. Like, I want to go to Fort Lewis then. And I did that, and I got fucked because I got put in, like, a regular infantry unit. Left for the military, going back to hockey since I was done with playing hockey at the moment. I went to Play It Again Sports and sold all my goalie gear for like $400, even though it was probably worth about $2,000,
Yes,
$3,000.
a little more than
My
that.
parents like probably would be fucking pissed if they knew that. They eventually found out. But sold all my gear. I was like, fuck it. Like, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I want to do. I want to serve my country. Like, I'm gonna be a fucking Ranger. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Fast forward in my military career, I was at Fort Lewis. Found out very quickly that I wasn't going to be a Ranger. I was in a regular infantry unit, which nothing wrong with being in a regular infantry unit, but definitely like Ranger, Bat, and above are the more prestige routes that you can go as an infantryman. So I really wanted to do that, and I was killing it at PT and shooting to the point where they offered me to go to pre-Ranger. I went through pre-Ranger, almost failed land nav. I heard you talking about land nav earlier.
Yeah.
But passed did really well. We had 48 guys that went through, and only like 12 of us graduated. It was 2.5 weeks, I think, maybe 3 weeks, which is nowhere the equivalent of Ranger School, but felt pretty gung-ho. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm going to get to go to Ranger School, and then I'll figure out a way to get to Ranger Battalion. Something came up where the battalion commander, I was the only one in my battalion that made it through. We sent 8 guys from my battalion. I was the only one, including my fucking Ranger buddy who fell out during the PT test. Like, fell in the ditch. I swear to God, he, like, just pussied out. Like, just, like, in the ditch. And I was like, I rolled my ankle. Fuck that dude. Anyways, so they told me the battalion commander was interested in me doing one of 2 things. He could either bless me off, go to Ranger School, or I could try out for recon and sniper section. They were hand selecting guys from my battalion. We're getting ready to deploy within 6 months. And they're like, hey, like, listen, you can go do Ranger School or you can do battalion recon and snipers. And I was like, that sounds pretty cool. So I talked to one of my buddies who I actually wear on my wrist, and who's like a dad to me. And I talked to my actual dad about it. And both of them kind of told me, listen, like, a Ranger tab is not necessarily bulletproof, and you're coming back to your regular infantry unit. Why don't you go and work with the guys who are hand selected? And I can probably say, like, it sucks for my old unit because we had a lot of guys that got hurt and killed. But, like, my battalion for the recon and sniper section, we had 0 KIAs. We didn't lose any guys. We had guys that took shrapnel. We had guys that got hurt really bad. But no one died within my direct unit, whereas my old squad leader got killed. One of my buddies, who was my best friend in the military, got fucked up really bad. And it's kind of like this weird divine intervention that like changed the whole trajectory of my military career. And yeah, so I ended up doing that, and it's one of those things that like I look back on, I was like, fuck, like, you know, I really wanted that Ranger contract, but at the same time, like, I took a different pathway, which led to different things in life. And, you know, I get out. Let's just, Iraq was a shit show. It was really rough. I was over there in 2003, 2004.
Like an invasion, baby.
Yeah, like, the invasion passed Baghdad. Baghdad was secure when I came in. I did all the fighting north of Baghdad. We actually had the intel on where Saddam was, and the recon unit that we ultimately replaced actually captured him. So we were very close to getting him. We were actually in Tikrit getting ready to like take over the AO, and they captured him. You know, it was a rough deployment. I lost 4 really close friends in my first deployment, and you know, I got out. I was pretty fucked up. No one really understood or knew like the new wave of PTSD. I would say, you know, obviously Vietnam veterans and World War II veterans dealt with, and Korean veterans dealt with way more shit than we ever did. But like the new generation of soldiers that got out were like 2004, 2005 guys, and you know, we had head injuries, we had extreme PTSD, and we were just kind of let back into the real world. And I spent a lot of time really fucked up and just messed up over my deployment, even though it wasn't probably as many as like you did in battalion. It wasn't like the worst deployment, but it wasn't a good deployment either. And I was out of the military for a long time. I drank a lot. It's extreme PTSD. I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And then I found out about like the VA and started going there and learning that I have like severe PTSD, probably some traumatic brain injuries, because I got blown up in Iraq actually twice. RPG concussion and an IED in the vehicle, but I was in a Striker, which held up pretty well. Like, just felt the concussion more than anything. I was out for a while, and then one day I got a fucking letter in the mail in like 2009. So I was out for 4.5 years, got recalled back into the fucking army, had to deploy for 15 months to Afghanistan, early 2009 to like mid 2010. And it was like one of those weird things where my first deployment was so violent and so fucked up that I was like, this is some sick, like, Final Destination shit. Like, I was supposed to die overseas. Like, now I have to go back and fucking die, maybe. And there was ways to get out of it because a couple of my friends that got called back were like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'm not going back. I didn't have a family. I mean, I have my immediate family, but, like, I didn't have a wife, a girlfriend or anything, no kids. And I was like, you know, I'll go back because a couple of my buddies died, like, the last month we were there. And I was like, I want to, like, revenge their fucking deaths. And I went back. It was an easy deployment compared to what I went through. Afghanistan was popping off, but it was a lot easier, let's just say. I did pick up my third traumatic brain injury from a fucking tree in Afghanistan. We'll get into that story some other time. I feel like I've been ranting forever. But got out of the military, and, you know, with the third traumatic brain injury, I was pretty fucked up and had to go through a bunch of, like, TBI programs. Then randomly found out about, like, warrior hockey. Well, me and my ex-wife were stationed in Alaska. And I was like, I want to go back to hockey. And she's like, well, will you go back to being a goalie? I'm like, nah, like, I want to skate out. And this was like 2019. So I started skating out with the Alaska Warriors, and I feel like it was what all you guys said earlier. It was like a saving point because you found that connection with people. One of the things about warrior hockey is I feel like, and it's literally at this table right here, is all four of us have had different military experiences where in the back of your head you think, well, that guy's got more experience. You know, with warrior hockey, like I was saying earlier, it's just, I think when you're in the military, in the back of your head, and maybe this is just me as like an infantry guy, you know, you compare yourself to other MOSs, you compare yourself to other branches of like what you did.
That's fair.
What you didn't do.
Also fair.
And what you're proud of and what you wish you knew. And one of the cool things about warrior hockey, because, you know, when you come from like an infantry background, you become very egotistical towards the other MOSs. And I'm sure like you experienced that at BAT too. And one of the coolest things that I've observed, at least through warrior hockey, and I'm sure you guys concur with this, is it doesn't fucking matter. Because like at the end of the day, every single guy or girl that's out there playing warrior hockey or is affiliated with these teams because they're either actively serving or they did serve, they're all doing something for the country. And it doesn't matter what the fuck you did as a ranger or as a regular infantry guy or as a fucking helicopter mechanic or as an FO. Like, it doesn't matter because, like, it's all about, like, there's not an MOS to entry. There is just, this is my bro. This is my friend. I fucking love this dude. I mean, like, I met Bryce through warrior hockey 4 years ago now. We met because I was out of Alaska at the time, and in Alaska we didn't have any tournaments coming up, and the United Heroes League, is that what it's called?
Yep.
Yeah, they put together a U.S. Army team every year, an upper and lower, and I was lucky enough to get put on the upper team, and I met Bryce, and I met a bunch of the Dallas Warriors, Lone Star guys, and I got lucky enough to be put on the upper team. And like to this day, like Bryce is like one of my best buds. Like I fucking love this dude. And we met because of hockey programs, literally. And then, you know, obviously, like, I've met you guys through the hockey programs here. Bryce and I have only been here for a year, about.
Yeah, coming up on a year.
Coming up on a year. But I mean, I feel like I've clicked with you guys so fast to the point where you guys brought up like 2 weeks ago, you guys want to do a podcast? And I'm like, yeah, man. I've been waiting for this. Like, this is legit. So that's my story. That's my military. That's my hockey. And like, I'm excited about what we can do with this.
Yeah.
And what we can do for others.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk very heavily about Warrior hockey. Clearly we're all really passionate about it. I honestly wouldn't even be playing hockey anymore if it wasn't for, you know, getting brought in for Warrior. Because like I was playing, it was just, you know, beer league stuff. I wasn't connecting with anybody, and, you know, my kids would want to do more, and I'm like, you know, maybe I should just stop and, you know, focus on other things. And then I got invited to Warriors, and, you know, it's all these disabled vets, and, you know, like you're saying, like it doesn't matter what you did. Like, yeah, it's fun to talk about every now and then, but like, you know, us all being together, you know, playing hockey and then just hanging out, like rebuilding that bond, you know, because when you're in service, it's especially active duty, like every day, you know, you're with your crew, you're with your guys, and they're like your family, and you go through everything with them, like every single day. It's what are we going to do today? You know, we go do whatever the military wants, and then we hang out together. Mm-hmm. And then one day, like, you're like, you know, fuck this. And then you get out and you don't know anything. Like, you go back home sometimes and you're like, everybody I knew is different now. And like, they can't relate to me. Like,
No.
You know, it's odd. And like I said before, like, we don't really talk about, you know, our service. I skated with guys that I didn't no idea were veterans, and like us getting back together, like through hockey, and we can go out there and, you know, kick ass playing hockey as best as we can, and then just hang out and build lives again together, you know. And our friends, or like our families are all friends and everything like that. Like,
hell yeah,
it's just, you know, we went from not knowing everyone existed and like just lost in this, you know, a strange world, and then we grow back together, and then everyone we know comes back together, and, you know, friends we had, you know, become other friends. I wouldn't know any of you if it wasn't for Warrior hockey. So
very true.
And you guys are a big part of my life, and that's why I wanted you guys to, you know, do this with me, because you know, you guys mean a lot to me, and Warrior means a lot to me, and I love hockey, and I'm really happy that, you know, Warrior kept me in it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's good, man.
It was beautiful.
So true. I mean, hey, yeah, I'll be honest, like, just to kind of, for lack of a better term, piggyback off of that. I know.
Heard that once or twice.
I know. I said it.
Come on, CEO.
I said it.
Tell us, sir. What else do you have to put
Yeah,
out?
and I'm not even that, you know. But
you were in Worcester, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just, you know, honestly, to piggyback off of that, I feel like out of all the sports out there, because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of organizations, a lot of leagues, a lot of whatever have you. And I think everybody can agree, whoever's watching too can agree that there's something about hockey that there's a spirit that brings everybody together as well.
Yeah.
It's the most team sport of team sports.
I agree.
And the only reason why I can definitively say that is my wife got into hockey within the last 3 years. And she grew up watching baseball, football, being a Texas girl. And, and one of the things she said to me during the first year of her, like, falling in love with the Vegas Golden Knights and everything is, like, she's like, the love for each other on the ice and off the ice, and the way that they bring things to the fans, and just, like, it's multi-level facets of just connection. Whereas, like, I'm not trying to knock other sports, but I don't see that camaraderie in other sports. And I think that's why, like, it directly relates back to military service, where you have the camaraderie. But yeah,
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to like step on you.
No,
No,
you're good,
yeah.
dude. Absolutely.
It's like,
I mean, just
Didn't mean to piggyback.
Yeah, I mean, like pick
Now
up
you
like
gotta
where you left
piggyback.
off. Yeah, like you were just kind of connecting here. A big thing with hockey, kind of got pieced my love for, especially the warrior hockey, is I almost kind of compare it exactly to military service. So like, you're about to go on a patrol. You're about to go in a game. You're in the locker room. You want to check, make sure everybody's got PCs, PCIs. You're ready to go. You're ready to fight. So once you get on the bench, it's them against us. So you're looking out for your buddy, you're protecting your buddy, and you're making sure we make it out of the other side. I mean, warrior hockey for me is literally my life, and it's literally had my life in the balance at one point. And I'm not afraid to admit it because I've come to the realization, like being open and stuff, and this brotherhood, and fully invested with the brotherhood. Recently, not too recent, but I'd say like within the 5 years, not going to put the spotlight on like one specific, but I did try to commit suicide. A lot of mental health from personal issues, family issues, PTSD. I had those thoughts, and the people that you think are there, weren't. But the people that saved my life, I say, are fellow guys in the warrior community. I was able to lean on them and talk to them when there really wasn't anybody else. And that's why I'm very passionate about this stuff. I'm very passionate about pushing warrior hockey and, just all of that. That's why I love being here. I love being here with you guys. Every time we step on the ice is like going out on a patrol, So.
could see that.
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yeah, man. Love you boys.
Like you're all right.
Any closing thoughts, Nate?
No, I said my piece, man. Like Warrior's amazing. We're gonna talk about Warrior a lot. If you're watching this, you made it this far. We love you too. We hope all our Warrior buddies can watch this and chime in and leave comments, hit us up. Like this is a big community that doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and it's we talk about going to battle with us, but then as soon as that game's over, like those are our brothers too, and they're we've played plenty of games, and then we're drinking with the team we just played against. So.
And it's not just vets or warrior hockey. That's NHL.
That's
hockey. That's hockey.
Yeah, no.
And then you
Yeah.
throw the military brotherhood,
College,
brotherhood,
NHL.
family on top of it.
Exactly.
It's
It's the common
like
ground
times
we can
10.
relate. Yeah.
absolutely. So
Cool.
oh yeah,
All right, man.
keep putting that message out.
That's episode 1. We thank you for
Cheers.
joining us.
Get yours.
We hope you enjoyed
yours
this and
on.
keep
Oh
watching.
shit!
Let's
Use
go.
this.
I'll use this one.
Cheers.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.